Coming up on today's episode. Welcome back everyone, here at the bench once again. What we are doing is going to go over this a little bit closer again and compare this to the schematic. And I think this is going to be telling on what I've done wrong here, I guess is what I should say. Now this wire here, I think you can see that. That's the antenna wire that attaches to the base of X1. And that is the base right there that it is attached to. So that is correct right there. So now on this side, this is what threw me off. Now this is where the connection is made right here. Let me get that out of the way a little bit. Right there, you can see the little pile of solder there. There's a line going through here. This is the ground for the oscillator transformer. The two tabs stick up through here. That's where they stick up. This is the secondary, or actually the primary side of it. There's one leg. There's the other leg. There's the tap. There's a tap on that side. If you look at the schematic, you'll see it. Pin 3, I think 3, 4, and 5, or 3, 5, and whatever it is. But anyway, that's what those are. And the other side is where this connection is right here. That's one leg of it, and that's the other leg. The ground goes through the middle of it. Doesn't connect to anything. There's nothing to connect to on that side. So there you go. That's what that is. And that should be point number 4, the collector of X1. And what threw me off is, I'm going to flip this over real quick like this. And what threw me off was the thinking this should be the emitter on this side of the transistor. That's why I connected that there. But anyway, like I said, this is the output side, or it looks like the output side right here. And looked to me like this would be the input side. So that is why I did it that way. And that was my reasoning behind there. Obviously, I have learned since then that is not the case. And in fact, this is the collector, and that goes to that oscillator coil, transformer, whatever you want to call it. And the other side, now here is the other side right here. There should be a 1500 ohm resistor there. I'm going to try to measure that. Before I go to all the trouble, I'm going to take this out, take the transistor out. I've got the soldering iron heating up. And get that out and get all this changed around like I want it. In other words, I want to measure this transformer, or the resistor in here. Not so interested in the cap because they're little disc caps. They don't usually go bad, but resistor can change value. So, like I said, the reading on that was a little bit low, if I recall. So you know, it's possible that has changed value, and that may be our whole problem there. So I don't know, but we're going to find out. And like I said, we will do that shortly. Like I say, as soon as I get my soldering iron all heated up and get me some solder wick out here, and we're going to go for it. So stand by. Alright, we are back once again. Now I want to show you, there is the antenna wire. If I can get a hold of it here. There it is. And that is disconnected. The actual transistor is out. And there you can see it. There's our orange dot. That goes to the collector. The middle one is the base, and that leaves the other one as the emitter. So those are the 3 legs of that. This is the long one. That was the one I was using as the emitter, and that's wrong. So anyway, back to this. So there's our, what do you call it? There is a resistor connected to that. I do know that. I'm going to try to find the other end of that and measure that and make sure it is in range or in tolerance or whatever you want to call it. Now the other 2 places that the transistor connects to, one is right this hole here. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a hole there. That's the base. It basically just sticks up there and this wire connects to it. That's all there is to that. There's no trace to it. There used to be, but it's been long gone. The other part is this connection here. Now that's the hole for it right there. But there's the actual leg of the transformer sticking up there, the oscillator transformer. And again, we covered this in the other part of it. See if I can turn this up, maybe get a little better idea. This is, again, the ground, because you can see these are the two tabs that hold the transformer to the board, and that's ground coming through there. This is the other leg of the, trying to think what I'm thinking here, the transformer, and this goes down here. Now, this is part of, and you can see it very clearly here. I'm going to trace it off here. You can see now this is the middle leg of the transformer. This is the other transformer. These are the two mounting tabs right here. Here's the secondary on this side. This is the primary, and you can see very clearly this is the one leg and the other leg, and this is the middle tap. So if you're looking at that other transformer, that's what that looks like, and we're going to turn it over so you can see the other side. But you can see there it is right there. So that is the other transformer, and that is where it goes. So we know, but that is the collector for X1. And again, this is the part I'm not really sure about. I want to get a measurement of that. There's two items. Let's look at this close again. There is two items here. One is this, whatever it is here. This is the resistor, I do believe. And the other item is probably that cap. Because there are two items, if you look at the schematic, there is two items that connect to that emitter. And those would be the two items. So this trace used to come down. I don't know how you can see it, but there's a hole right there. That's where the emitter comes through. And there used to be a trace that come down there, but that's gone too. But like I said, it's no problem. You basically stick the collector up there and bend it over to that tab, to the trace, and that's all there is to it. It's easy to do. So, like I said, I've just got to double check all my connections in here to make sure this is the resistor and it is the correct value. And once I do that, I can put the transistor back in correctly, and hopefully this thing will work. Running out of options if it doesn't. So I'm going to double check some other, because these traces have lifted so easily around this X1 here. There's the three holes you can see, 1, 2, 3. I just figure maybe some of these other traces have lifted as well. So again, this one's lifted here. It used to go over to here, from here to here, but it doesn't anymore. So anyway, that's that. Let me do some checking now with the ohm meter and find out if that is in fact what we are looking at, and make sure it is correct value. So, all right, making a little progress. What I have done is basically got the resistor out completely. You can see it here before you on the bench. This is a strange looking resistor. You would expect a lead up here and a lead down here. Now here's the lead down there, but this one is the second lead, and that actually measures 1470 ohms. It's supposed to be a 1500 ohm resistor. It is, I think, in tolerance, pretty sure. But I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway, but just to be on the safe side. There's one leg. That is the leg that connects to the emitter, and there's the other one right there. Now I had measured between here and got that 1570 or 1470 before, but didn't realize that was where it's connected, because I didn't know the resistor was a strange looking beast that it was, and I kept looking for the other lead on the other end of the resistor. So that is the problem with that. Again, I don't think the little capacitor is bad, so I'm going to just go ahead and replace that resistor with a 1500 ohm resistor, and we'll go from there. I think that is the correct spot, though. I knew it was getting voltage because I had measured it before, and it was almost the correct voltage, but at the same time it was a little low. And I thought, well, it's worth checking that out to make sure it is correct. So I want to be sure, 100% sure, if possible, that I am getting this correct this time. So again, I will replace that and we'll go from there. Alright, we are back once more. Okay, what I have here is, this is the emitter now. Okay, it is connected to the new resistor. I left that lead a little bit long and I wrapped that lead around from the emitter onto that resistor. There's the other part of it right there. So that is incorrect. This is the collector over here going to the leg of the transformer, as it should. And that is soldered well. And lastly, we have the base going to the wire for the antenna. And it is soldered in, as it should be. So we're looking pretty good there, I think. Whether it works or not, I don't know, but it is incorrect. I'm about as sure as I can be. I don't know how to be any surer. I've matched it up with the, again, there's the collector. It comes out of the hole there and goes right over to that pin, and I wrapped it around a little bit. It was a little bit shorter than the other one, obviously, so I didn't get to wrap it all the way around, but it wrapped around halfway around, so. And this one is wrapped around all the way here on this one. So, and again, I even wrapped the little base or antenna wire around the base connection there before I cut it off. It was quite a bit longer, and so that is connected correctly now. So, as far as I know, this thing is correct, and we're going to establish some power connections and speaker connections and see what happens. So stand by for that. I'm going to do a little recap on the AM-80 Magnavox and show you and tell you a little bit about where I am. I had replaced this transistor before, you may recall, but I had it in backwards according to the emitter and the collector. I have that reversed now, and it is in correctly. That is, I don't have the wire I was playing around with a little bit. There's the base coming out of there. There is the emitter here, and there is the collector going to the oscillator transformer. So it is in correctly now. I also, you may notice some shiny solder here. I also replaced this resistor here. There was a, I believe it was a 1500. I see it now. 1500, and I had measured it and measured 1470. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and replace it just in case. And the funny thing about it was the one I put in there, which was a brand new one, measured 1470. So also, while I was at it, I took the other AM-80 that I have and did some comparisons, and basically this is set up identically. The working radio, it looks just like this one. The only real difference is that transistor. That one right there. So, everything else is. Now here's another possibility, or whatever you want to call it. Those two resistors there, I'll point to those. This one and this one. Now they look identical to me. If you look at them now, maybe one is red. I don't know, but I think they look identical, and maybe they are. I don't know, but according to the schematic, if you saw that, R2 and R3 is what these two are, I believe. One is 30K and one is 3K. So that is not the same. I think if this is, the way it kind of looks, this looks a little redder than this one does. I'm thinking this would be the 3K and this would be the 30K. But the funny thing is, they measure almost identical. So I don't know if that's a problem or not. I have not taken the other Magnavox apart to check that, but again, that is one of the possibilities right there. So, again, I don't know. I really kind of hate to take it out, and, you know, for no reason other than that, but because it's obviously been in here since the beginning, and this radio did work, and it worked with the components that you see on here, so, except for that transistor. So, again, I don't know. It just, I'm just looking at it, and like I said, the difference in the colors there's very, very slight difference in that one. Looks more red than orange. So, you know, that would be the only indication. And I have, like I said, measured these as closely as possible. There's the 2 for that one, and that's the other 2 for that. So, I may play around a little bit more with that and measure it again, but like I say, I think that is one of the deals there that may just not be correct. I don't know. So, good day once again, YouTube, here at the bench once more. I have been watching a lot of videos. After the last couple of clips I made on this radio, and we are talking about the Magnavox AM-80 radio, I decided to do something a little different. I'm going to recap a little bit about what we've found and what we haven't found and stuff like that, so that anybody who can't remember from episode to episode what we have done. This radio, this particular one on the bench before you, in the this one here, did not work when I got it. Well, let me rephrase that. It worked, but the volume was so low that you could barely hear it turned up all the way. So that's, anybody who's fooled with radios knows usually that's probably bad capacitors. I say probably, it's not always, because there are different things that make things operate differently. They say now, like, I don't know who it was that started it, but might have been Mortsky, but it is what it is because of the way it is. But but like I said, anyway, this one did work other than the bad capacitor. So I did go through and change all of the electrolytic capacitors in this radio. And in fact, that did bring the volume back on the audio. And it worked fairly well. And, you know, I'm not going to say it was perfect. It wasn't. It's a little cheap Chinese or cheap Japanese transistor radio. You know, you guys know how those are. You have good ones and bad ones. So this one, like I say, it worked. It worked on the local station. I don't know how well it worked otherwise, but it did work. And so I kind of set it aside, and I had, about the same time, I had bought this one, which is in much better cosmetic shape, as you can see. Let me get you in the frame here. But it did not work. It had audio, and again, very low volume audio, but it did work that way. It did not tune any stations in, though. So what I did was, or what I decided to do was, being as the other one, this one over here, did work, and it wasn't in very great shape. Let me show you the case, in case you don't remember. There it is. And again, it is in much rougher shape, I'll just say that. And although it was functional, I figured the best thing to do was to make the nice looking one work also. So I had, it didn't take too long to determine the bad component on this one, or the bad section, I should say. I won't say component because I didn't really know at the time. Was the oscillator, mixer oscillator. The signal was not getting through that transistor. And we did determine with more testing that it was present on the collector there. I could put the 455 modulated signal there, it would work. If I put it on the base, it did not work. So it was not getting through. So obviously that's usually, I say obviously, it could have been voltage, but I think I did check the voltage, I believe. But anyway, I pulled the transistor out and decided, being as this one worked, I would use the transistor, mixer oscillator transistor out of that, and by gosh, I did that, and this one magically started working. Now, it was just that simple with this one, okay? Now, keep in mind that, again, going back to the other one, and I know I'm switching around a lot, but there's a purpose, a method to my madness, as it were. Keep in mind, this one used to work also, other than taking out that transistor and putting in the other radio. Now, at that point, I decided to put a new transistor in this one to get this one working, and I went through, let's see, two or three different transistors. I can't remember exactly how many it was, at least two. I know I used a Russian transistor. It did not work. And I don't remember if I used one in between or not, but this one here, the last one, was the one I really wanted from the beginning, 2N4106, I believe, because it was pretty close to the other one, and that's what I want to do. Now, we know it doesn't work either. And so, like I said, I have been watching a lot of J.P. Dillon and Shango videos. They work on a lot of these little transistor radios, and they have several with problems similar to this. And I've noticed that they have equal difficulty in finding a replacement transistor for these mixer oscillator transistors, converters, whatever you want to call them. And that, it does seem to really, they are picky. We'll just say that. And so what I have decided to do, and this is a long story to get to where we're going, but what I have decided to do is to take the transistor out of the brown radio, put it back in here, make sure this works. Now, that's the primary thing. Now, the secondary thing to that is to check the actual transistor used in that application, because I believe, and I can't be totally certain because I don't have it anywhere on video that I can remember, but I believe this transistor in the brown radio was a different value than the original. It wasn't the 2SA160. I know that. Or I think it wasn't, anyway. So, like I said, if it does work, then we're going to try to find that replacement. In other words, or at least find some specs on it to find out how it specs out compared to the ones we've been trying here. If that one was bad, the original one in this one, the 2A SA160, was bad, and that one was bad on the other radio, the brown radio, that means that maybe that is not a good transistor to put in this application. That's my way of thinking anyway. So I don't know if it's right or wrong or whatever, but anyway, that's what I'm thinking. So here it is, like I said, in a nutshell. If I put that transistor back in this radio starts working, we will know that is the transistor we want to replace. And it's not this one that's this 2SA160. So that's my thinking on that, and so that is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to take this transistor out, I'm going to take the other transistor out, we're going to look at it before I put it back in here and see exactly what type it is, if I can. I'm hoping that the numbers are still there. So that's what we're going to do, and that's the plan. So, alright, now you're up to speed on what's going on here. I've got my soldering iron heating up, and I'll quickly remove these transistors. I'm going to do that off camera because, there's no sense in showing you people soldering and desoldering. That's just, you guys have seen that so many times, it's just pathetic. So, like I say, let me get this done. We'll come right on back. Alright, we are back once more. I do have the transistor from the brown radio removed. And just for the record, it was an NEC transistor, a 2SA285. That's the one they replaced the original 2SA160 with in this radio here. This is the original transistor that was in this radio when I got it. And this is the one that did work in here. Alright, back with you again. As you can hear, the AM-80 black version is actually working. Not the best, but it is working. Probably don't have it tuned in very well. And it's laying down too, so that's part of it. That's the wrong speaker too. I don't know what difference it'll make, but it is a different speaker. That's the one from the little bastard there playing. But it is an 8-ohm speaker, so. Alright, that tells me that the transistor is very critical on this particular radio. Turn this down. Like I said, it is ultra critical. This is actually the one that was in there originally, and it took some doing to get it back in there because, like I said, the traces are gone now from when they were there before, but I was able to fashion some leads into traces and solder it back in to get it to work. So that's what I did, and it does work. So I had to add a solder connection here. And so that would be all one piece. And like I said, it just took some placing, some strategic placing here to get things back like they should be. And it is working now, so I'm going to consider that a success. I know it doesn't sound the greatest, like I said. I'm going to try it with the other speaker, see if that makes any difference at all. And we'll go from there. So hang on a minute, let me change that around and we'll see. Alright, well, it is working, but not very well. Again, as I said before, this is the original, or the right speaker. It just doesn't, I don't know exactly what the problem is. I don't know if that transistor is now from heating it into the other one and removing it from that one, putting it back in this. I've done it twice now, and I don't know if that's the problem. Let me turn this down. So, like I say, it is working, but there is still problems with this. I've got some more checking to do on another problem I thought I found was, when I did those, I was going to turn that down and I was turn it off, and that would be the best thing for it. I was going to check those resistors with the other one to see if they are the same as those and how they measure, and see if that's part of the problem, because it could be, it could have been the whole problem with this. You never can tell. This radio may never have done real well as far as it may never have been a good performer. I mean, even from the factory, especially if it was put in with the wrong resistors in there, like I think maybe. So, like I said, that's what I want to check on. That will be on another thing. I've got it working now. I do know it works. What I'm going to do next, probably, is to put the transistor I bought, the last one I bought, I should say, the 4106, 2N4106, into the brown radio and see if it works with that. If it does, then I'm pretty darn sure there is more problems with this, that we didn't get solved. As I recall, even when I got it working, it didn't work the best with that transistor that was in there. So, I'm not really sure if there's again, more problems than that or what? Now, we did notice the voltage was low on the, I believe, the base and the emitter of this transistor. I think it was about a volt low. And now when you're talking about volt in a transistor radio that runs on a 9-volt battery, that's quite a substantial, amount, about 10%. So, like I said, you got to kind of look at that too and see if those resistors have something to do with it or not, and we go from there. But again, it is working, but not very well. So, I'm guessing that's progress. You guys may not even think it is, but it is. I mean, we've got it working, and that again shows you how picky the mixer oscillator circuit is with these radios. And so, like I said, that's what we got so far, and we're going to work on it again another time. This is going to be set aside for a while, I guarantee you. I will probably put that other transistor into the other radio just to see if that works. If it does, that like I say, that just tells me for sure this radio is the problem. It's not the transistor so much. Alright, there you go. There's a look at the brown radio now, or the tan radio, whatever you want to call it. It is receiving with that same transistor that was in the black one, the 2N4106, I believe it is. And the only problem I've found so far is that it will not receive anything above 1 megahertz. And I say 1 megahertz, that's approximate according to the dial. Okay, that's above. You see it cuts way, way back. That's up all the way. Yeah, you got a station there. I can't hardly make it out, but it's on there. Acts like maybe a problem with the AVC capacitor or something like that. I don't know. I don't think I replaced it. I think that's the one I didn't replace in the IF section, I believe. So maybe it's bad. I don't know. Probably. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that it does work with that transistor. But again, this thing is really, really picky on transistors. This design, I guess. Like I said, it is unreal. Barely works with the black one at all, the one that was in it. And now this replacement for the black one that I tried in the black one didn't work. But it does work in this one somewhat. So whatever the case is with these radios, there is definitely some funkiness going on. You can't just basically pull one out and replace it with another one. It just doesn't work. That was a Chicago station right there. It's fading out now. I don't know if it's fading out or something getting warm in the radio itself making it go out. So I don't know. We'll see. So that's about all I can do with that. So go back to your regular video now and finish this up. So anywho. I just figured, being as that we know this one worked before with that transistor, it should still work, and it did, just not very well. So, alright, you guys have a great day. Thank you so very much for watching, and we will see ya.